You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh,
you know what time it is. Roll with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. If we don't play, our wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's OH. Somebody please give this brother an eye. Come on.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Devin. That's Mello. And it's good to be back, man. It's been a minute since me and Mello been on here. Got to talk some Buckeye football, but I'm excited. It is happening tonight, chat. We appreciate y'all joining us tonight. Please don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Super chats are open as well. If you got questions, comments, concerns, put it in the super chat and we'll address it. But appreciate you guys for joining us. Mello, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Man, happy to be back. It's been so long since I was able to share the stage with you and be with the BBZ family. So I'm happy to be here, and I can't wait to get the show rolling.
Yeah, no, you can't be with us too long tonight. What time you got to dip out of here?
Around 7:30. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay, well,
But
you don't got long.
next time I'll plan it accordingly because I kind of set my schedule in terms of that. So
Yeah. Well, I'm going to hold off on the recruiting things until after you hop off here. Then let's just jump right into it, dude. Because this Buckeye team, 4-0, looking strong. They're obviously playing a slower paced offense, so there's some things on the offensive side of the ball that I think we're hoping to see. But defensively, we seem to be dominating. A little bit of the rushing defense could use some work, but I want to start off, Mello, and if I were to ask you, right, what do you think the number one strength of this Buckeye team is? Like, what would you say it is?
it's definitely the defense, without a doubt. But if we're not going with the players, then I'm going with the coaching staff. I think this is easily the best coaching staff in America. I hear a lot of people talking about Dan Lanning and Will Stein and all that, but like Penn State's office is putrid. And they went to double overtime, and Dan Lanning screaming like he won a natty. That's how you know Oregon is not built for this. But nobody's talking about this staff. Matt Patricia is the best DC. The offense doesn't have to do much to win right now, so they're slowly building in the offense and acclimating Julian Saying and letting it just grow over time. Doesn't mean that the offense can't be the most explosive in the country, which when it's operating at 100%, I mean, it's going to look like the CFP last year against whoever we play. So I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm enjoying it. And I really, like we've been saying, like you started saying last year, back to back.
Yeah, that's right. Back to back 2024, 2025 Natty Lock, man. But definitely at this point in time in the season, I would say, if I were to get more specific about it, I would say our red zone defense is the number one strength of this team. It was something we had last year. Washington, you could they kind of found a couple weak spots in this defense, things that we can expect other teams to try to exploit, try to take advantage of. They opened up a couple rushing, holes with some of the zone counter plays against that, dime front that we run. They opened up some passing plays as well. They were able to get down the field a couple times, but when they hit that red zone, it just kind of the field shrunk for them, and they weren't really able to do much. So, if I'm going to narrow it down even closer to the number one strength of this team, I'm going to have to go with the red zone defense, because seeing what they were able to do in Washington with containing the quarterback, with that, Arvell Reese able to go out to the sideline, follow Damon Williams. He tries to cut back Arvell Reese. The speed of this defense is just too much, but there's some things that this defense, we're the number one defense. Okay. So we're going to go over things tonight that strengths and things that we want to see improvement on, even though we're the number one defense and we know that this offense has a lot more in store. But it's always fun to talk about ways that we think this team can get better. So, Mello, what do you think about our red zone defense? Do you think that's something fair to say, that this is the number one strength of this team right now?
I do think it's fair to say in terms of that we haven't got given up a red zone touchdown. So I mean, it's pretty obvious, and that just goes along with the speed and what we were hearing all season from recruits and their parents that went to practice, that the practices were different from everyone else's, including UGA's, including Texas, including Oregon. The intensity that they practice at, the speed, and what I was flat out told by BJ Womack, he told me flat out, if they find replacements for JT and Jack Sawyer, this defense is going to be better than last year's, and it's proving to be true.
Yeah, it is. And I would say that I think I have seen enough already from Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson. You can throw Bo Atkinson in that, in that argument as well, that they are stepping up and they are becoming replacements in their own way to Jack and JT last year. Caden Curry absolutely dominating in these 4 games with his relentless motor that he has. Kenyatta Jackson seemed to have an extra step of confidence from that Washington game, and I'm hoping that continues to roll over, because physically, I mean, his physical attributes, he's physically gifted enough to be the number one defensive end on this team. NFL scouts love him. They watched him, work out in the combine last year, at Ohio State. So physically, he's the DN that we would expect to get the most pressure on the quarterback, to help in the run game the most. But, the first 3 games, we didn't see him do much, but he did his job, and he did his job very well. Well, we saw in the Washington game him take his game to another level. And if we see him to continue to do that, this defensive line is just becoming a unit on this team. When preseason, Mello, me and you argued with so many people and tried to tell so many people that were saying this defensive line is going to be the weakness of this team. It's turning into the strength of this defense. I mean, this defense, they had 6 sacks against Washington. K-Mac is unstoppable. Caden Curry is unstoppable. Kenyatta Jackson doing his thing. Bo Axe is doing his thing. Tywone Malone grading a champion, the highest he's ever graded in the Washington game. He's coming along as well. And we still got Edric Houston, who is in his sophomore season, but haven't given up hope there. He as well physically has the attributes to be the best 3 tech on the team, but something's going to click. And with this coaching staff, what they've been able to do with players in the past, I have faith that they're going to bring Edric Houston along, catch up to his physical skills that he has, the mental side of the game. Once that catches up to the physical side, the strengths that he has, he's going to be a wrecking ball as well in the middle. So this defensive line is absolutely tearing it up this season, and they're only going to get better. Every time Tywone Malone gets into games and starts and gets 31 reps like he did last game, he's going to gain that confidence. He's going to gain that momentum. And we've expected this out of Tywone Malone since he's been in the program. So I love what we're seeing from this defensive line. I love what we're seeing from the depth from this defensive line. And I got a lot of hope that they're going to keep getting better and better as the year goes on.
Absolutely. The one thing I want to see improvement in terms of Edric, because he's a Gwinnett County boy. They call them the G code guys. I need him to be a little more disciplined. We saw he had a couple of offsides a couple of games ago, and then he had that punching the offensive tackle in the face, which was unnecessary. So I think, if anything, besides just consistency, I think that's the main thing that caused him to lose his starting job, was just the emotional and undisciplined snaps. We all know physically, he's physically gifted. He's one of the most physically gifted defensive tackles in the country. We just need him to put it together mentally and hold his composure.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. There's been some things, like we had these expectations coming out of preseason, and when you ask yourself where these expectations where they came from, they didn't come from much of anywhere other than the flashes that we saw last year and the potential that Edric has. But it's kind of the expectations put on him were a little bit unfair. And we're kind of seeing that now where he's going to have to go through this process a little bit more to live up, right, to the strength that we know he can play, to the level at which we know Edric can play the game at. But luckily, he is surrounded by veteran players that have done this. He's surrounded by a coaching staff and a defensive coordinator in Matt Patricia that has taught a lot of new players on this defense. They had some returning production from last year. From the most part, Matt Patricia has been able to teach these players, which is phenomenal, the amount he's been able to teach them in the offseason and what they've been able to put on the field and in schemes they've been able to play out and execute at a high level, right? That also should give you confidence that we can bring some of these other players along, right? As the season goes on, the season gets longer, we're going to need that depth more and more. And we're already seeing roster changes. We've seen Edric Houston. He lost his starting job. Taiwan Malone is filling in as well. So there's a roster change right there. And we're kind of wondering, hey, are there going to be any more roster changes? But you know what? I love to see it. I love to see this staff's willingness to change up the starting roster if needed, to change up players, give other players opportunities, right? And something we predicted and a while back is that Ethan Onianwa might start to take some reps from Tegra. And we saw that at the beginning of the season, the first 3 games. And then this Washington game came around, Mello, and Ethan didn't get in for a single snap. He got in on special teams, but he didn't get in on any offensive snaps. And you see Tegra to continue to be the weaker link in the offensive line. Not that he is like such a weak link that you can't put him on the field, but you almost wonder, okay, what's going on there? And are there going to be any more roster changes? Do you think there are going to be any more roster changes in this, starting offensive or defensive Buckeyes?
Well, we already saw one, which I think it was pretty obvious. We all knew that was going to happen. And we're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or anything, but the first roster change that was definitely necessary, and I think we're going to see more of it, is Bo Jackson. Lamar, Bo Jackson. Clearly RB1. He might be close to RB1 nationally, to be honest with you. He's just electric. His vision, I watched one play that I think it was a counter to the left. He ran left, and he was supposed to hit the outside hole, but it closed up, and it was instantaneous. He cut back inside, picked up 7 yards. None of our other running backs are doing that. His vision is exceptional. And when you add that with his elite athleticism, it just takes him to a whole nother level. And I'm interested to see. I want to throw this at you, Dev. It's a little off topic, but have you noticed those Naeem offers ones never came out? He's not playing. His brother isn't traveling with Oregon and has for a redshirt season. What's the over-under that both of them end up transferring to Ohio State next year, seeing how we didn't get an elite 26 running back? I'm doing air quotes. You can't see me because my camera. But an elite 26 running back in the class, and we all know how Naeem felt about OG Wall. So I just wanted your perspective because we haven't talked in a while. I need to ask that. I've been thinking about it.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. The Naeem Alford thing, I think with what he pulled with this coaching staff, I don't know that the coaching staff would put the effort that Naeem would want them to put in to get him to flip in the first place, right? Because Naeem obviously loved attention and loved things so much that he flipped his commitment after being committed that long to the Buckeyes. And the Buckeyes aren't going to be willing, right, to pour back into somebody that can just flip and lie to the staff and just flip their decision like that in 2 seconds because somebody throws a shiny new pair of shoes in your face. They're not going to do that. So I don't see that so much. But what I do see is there is some talk out there, Mello, about David Gabriel Georges, the number 1 running back in the 2027 class. The Buckeyes are in on extremely hard, possibly going to the 26 class, man. Possibly, what do you call that? Or you reclassify and you go to the 2020s. So listen, I haven't dug into that very much. It's been a slow couple of weeks for me in recruiting. I haven't felt the best, been super busy, a bunch of excuses, but diving back into it here, that's a little nugget that I heard, that potential for him to reclassify. And if so, I think the Buckeyes are going to be in that race very strongly. I know the Buckeyes will be at the forefront of that race when it comes to nil, right? Mello, another something that I do want to run by you. You remember Jalen Brewster? We had him on the show,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay, well, he's making a decision on Saturday, okay? And all these crystal balls going in for Texas Tech and whatnot. I'll just tell you this. A decision has not been made by him, okay? So these crystal balls to Texas Tech, they might be right, but they have not been made. And also, here's another something for you. Ohio State is offering him the most money they've ever offered a recruit out of high school at a non-quarterback position. So Ohio State is putting up the nil money to get Jalen Brewster to commit to them on Saturday. And we know how he feels about the Buckeyes. We know how his dad feels about the Buckeyes. So I don't know which way this is going. Those are the facts to present you. So I say slow the roll on this Texas Tech train for Jalen Brewster, the number one defensive tackle in the 27 class. He plays running back. He plays everywhere. He's 300 pounds as a sophomore playing running back. So, you know, I don't know. The Buckeyes really want this one. It seems like the Buckeyes have changed their nil philosophy a little bit. When I heard that, I'm like, okay, well, if they're willing to do that for a 27 guy, then I'm super excited to see what they do at the end of this 26 class. And I'm telling you, Buckeye fans, that you should be excited as well to see what they do at the end of this 26 class. So I think it's going to be exciting.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. The reason people are throwing Texas Tech around is obvious. They have
Yeah.
their primary donor sold his business for like $60 billion, and he's investing pretty much all of it into Texas Tech's athletic department and the NIL front. He paid a women's softball player $1 million to come play
Yeah.
softball there. So we saw what he threw at Felix Ojo. So they're throwing money. So of course that's the safe bet. If you're someone that's not plugged in, he's going to go to that place because they're going to offer him way more money than anywhere else. But like you said, he has a affinity for Ohio State, and if we're offering more money than anybody that we've offered coming out of high school, that's going to mean something. It's going to hold weight. Now, will it be the end all be all? No, because I'm sure Texas Tech will probably still offer twice what we offer, which is pretty insane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, $100 million to that dude is about 1.5% of what he sold his business for. So he could give Texas Tech a measly, let's just say he gives him $1 billion. Okay. That's a little bit over 10% of what he sold his business for. And that'll get you a long way on the nil front. So Mello, it's close to 7:30 now. You got to hop off here, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you for everybody that's attending the show. I miss you guys. I miss you, Dev. And hopefully we could get some more synergy as we go. You know, this new job is new. But I'm realizing, like, I can kind of schedule my lunch hour around whatever. So we'll just have to do a better job coordinating that in the future.
Yeah. We'll get it figured out. Appreciate you joining us again, brother.
All right. Later, family.
Good to have Mello back. The new job.